Video lesson 9.2. So we're going to utilize our trig functions here to actually find the side lengths of these right triangles. So let's just recap what SohCahToa means. Sine and its relationship. So in this case, for sine, we have that's the opposite side over the hypotenuse side. I'm abbreviating here, but so that's the relationship. That's the ratio that sine has with the right triangle. Cosine, that's adjacent over hypotenuse. And the tangent side is relationship is opposite over adjacent. All right, so again, that has to do with the relationship of what the sides have to the right triangle and with respect to the angle that you are referring to. So again, when doing this, it's all about referencing the correct angle and the sides accordingly. So let's look at example 1 here. So with respect to angle A, which is our 32-degree angle, that would make this side, BC, is opposite. I'm going to put over opposite. The AC would be the adjacent side, and always across from the right angle, that's your hypotenuse. So inside the triangle, I like to write the side relationships to the angle to help me and utilize SohCahToa nicely. So when doing this, all right, so for this question here, SohCahToa, right, I'm looking here. I've got information for the adjacent side, and I'm looking for the opposite side. So with that would give me tangent because I've got opposite and adjacent, and that's the relationship that tangent has. So I'm going to take that trig function. So tangent of the angle, so in this case 32, equals, and I'm going to write the relationship there. In this case, we have x over 13. Again, opposite over adjacent. From here, once I do this, right, tangent of 32, that's a number, that's a value. It does have an answer to it. It's a decimal, it's not a nice one. So we're just going to keep it in that form until the very, very end. So if I put this over 1, right, because any number over 1 can be made into a fraction, I can cross multiply now. Allows me the opportunity to cross multiply, right? And that'll give me x times 1, which is just x, and that gives me 13 times the tangent of 32. So now I can go into the calculator. I can type this in for here. So if I utilize my calculator, I've got 13 tangent of 32. Close the parentheses. All right, that is, oops, I hit it twice, that's why. We only need one set of parentheses there. From that, so I've got, this is equal to, what do we just have here? 8.593. 0, blah, 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 blah. And again, I always recommend writing down the whole decimal and then going back and making sure you answer the question. They want all of these to the nearest tenth. So that means that side BC is approximately 8.6 units, whatever they are. So there's my answer for that one. All right, let's do number 2 for here. So again, now we're looking at angle B. That's our 57-degree angle. So with respect to this, across is opposite. Across from the right angle is your hypotenuse, and that makes the other side adjacent. So in this case, I have opposite. I'm looking for hypotenuse. So if I'm following along with SohCahToa, in this one, I want sine. So sine of the angle, so sine of 57, is equal to opposite, which is 10.8, over the hypotenuse, which is x. Again, once I do this, put it over 1, cross multiply. In this example, notice the x is not alone, so it's going to be x times the sine of 57 is equal to 10.8. So I have an extra step here. I've got to get rid of this sine of 57 with respect to the x side, the left side of the equation. I want to get rid of it by simply dividing because it's multiplied right now. So opposite of multiplying is dividing. So I divide both sides by sine of 57. That will eliminate them on this side. Just gives me 1. So x is equal to. So my relationship now for x is sine of 57. There we go. 10.8 divided by the sine of 57. So now I can go and plug that into the calculator from here. Again, if you want to make your life a little easier in terms of not having to worry about parentheses as much, if you hit alpha y equals, you can choose the fraction bar as we've discussed before. And now you can actually plug those values in. It was 10.8, and we're dividing by sine of 57. Right? For those, that's my value. We've got 24.7612. And it says again to the nearest tenth, so we're looking for AB. So AB is approximately 24.8 units of whatever they are. All right, so that's this concept. And those are the two variations that you're going to see, right? You're either going to have a setup where when you cross multiply, x is already by itself, which is great. You just multiply and round your answer. Or when you cross multiply, x will have the function being attached to it. So you have to do an extra step and divide it out and then plug it in to get your value. All right, let's look at another two examples. All right, so we got example number 3. Again, with respect to the angle, x is my opposite side. Across from my right angle is my hypotenuse, and that would make the third side adjacent. So again, I'm looking for the opposite side, and I have the hypotenuse. So according to SohCahToa, I have opposite, and I'm looking for opposite, have hypotenuse. That's what I want to use. So sine of the angle, so sine of 37, is equal to opposite, which is x, over hypotenuse, which is 10.3. Put this over 1, cross multiply. So I'm going to get x is equal to 10.3 times the sine of 37. Plugged it into the calculator. And we're going to get x to equal 6.1986, blah, 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 blah. Again, for all of these questions, it said round to the nearest tenth. So now we know that AC is approximately 6.2. Let's do another one. Again, it's all about naming the relationship. That's why I strongly recommend inside your triangle labeling your sides. So with respect to A, aka the 41 degrees, across is opposite, across from 90 is hypotenuse, and then I have adjacent. So now, looking at SohCahToa, I have opposite, I want adjacent. So opposite, adjacent, that's tangent. So tangent of my angle equals opposite, which is 4, over adjacent, which is x. Again, put it over 1, cross multiply. I'm going to get x times the tangent of 41. That is equal to 4. An extra step here, divide each side by the tangent of 41. So x is equal to whatever 4 divided by the tangent of 41 is. If we plug that into the calculator, we're going to get AC. Oh, let's do this first. 4.60147, blah, 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 blah. And again, we only want to the 10th, so approximately 4.6 units for this one. All right. What about in a word problem? Again, the process doesn't change. It's just that you have to be able to decipher the information from the word problem. If they don't give you a picture, definitely need to draw one. That's the ones I find a little bit more complex. Is the one that they don't give you a picture, because now you have to not only interpret the information, but you also got to and figure it and how it's being represented in the triangle. But we have here. So we've got a skateboard ramp with a piece of wood that is 3.1 meters long. So here's my ramp. You want the ramp to make an angle of elevation of 25. Again, angle of elevation, we're going to talk more about this in depth, but angle of elevation, that's an increasing angle. So just think from here, from the ground up. So from here, like that's this one here. So we're going up in that angle measure. So it's an increasing angle. So that's our angle of elevation. To the nearest tenth of a meter, what is the length of the ramp's base? So now we're looking for the base. That's this part here. So we're going to have to figure out how long that is. So I'm going to call that x. All right, so we are here. So with respect to this, we've got opposite. Across from our 90-degree angle is hypotenuse, and this one is adjacent. So here we've got the hypotenuse, and we are looking for the adjacent. So according to SohCahToa, we are using cosine. So cosine of our angle, which is 25, is equal to x over 3.1. Again, I could put this over 1, cross multiply. So I get x is equal to 3.1 times the cosine of 25. Plug that into our calculator. We get x to equal 2.8095. It did say that we can round to the nearest tenth, so we can say that the ramp base, so I'll put that here, so the ramp base is approximately 2.8, and this was meters long. All right. Now it also says what's the height. So I can utilize this. This would be the height over here. All right. From here. So you've got options at this point. Since we found the other side of this and we have it as 2.8, I could just utilize Pythagorean Theorem because I have a right triangle. When you have two sides of a right triangle and you're looking for the third, you can use Pythagorean Theorem. So that would be a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And that would be fine. But I could also use the trig to find it. Just for practice here, I'm going to utilize the trig so that we can kind of use another example here. But again, either one should get you the same answer. And you were able to round your answer in this first part, so you can use that rounded answer in the next part. So it really wouldn't be too bad. But I'm going to do the trig part so that just we have a little bit more practice when we're doing this one. So again, still with respect to this 25-degree angle, I can now look for the opposite side. So that's going to be, in this case, sine. So we're going to have sine of 25. And that would equal, in this case, I'll call it y so that we don't have two x's. All right, we have y over 3.1. Now, again, I could have used this x value and done tangent of 25 as equal to 2.8 over our y. But again, just because in case I made a mistake for this one, then obviously that would cause this one to have an error as well. I know 3.1 is a correct number because they gave it to me, and I know 25 is. So I like to go with the ones that I know for concretely are given information. It usually makes it a little bit safer, but there's nothing wrong with using it. All right. So, all right. Let's just cross multiply here. So I get y is equal to 3.1 times sine of 25. If we plug that into the calculator here, we're going to get the value of 1.3101. So therefore the height is approximately 1.3 meters tall for that one. So we've been able to answer both questions within this one part. So again, I can use trig to do both, but we could have kind of shortcutted it or cheated a little bit and just used Pythagorean Theorem. There would be nothing wrong with that, and it would be a functional process to solve this. So, but take an opportunity to pause the video, look over anything, go back and review anything that you may have had a little bit of difficulty with, and as always, make sure you use the practice problems to make sure you understand it and have better understanding.